Hello everyone, welcome to this new meshing video on Hyperloop. As we all know that Hyperloop is a new form of ground transport which has attracted a lot of research and development in the recent years. The goal of this video is to explain the meshing process for the Virgin Hyperloop model which successfully passed its first human test trials recently. The model was created using GridPro Surface of Revolution tool called Tube. The length of the pod is 36 units with a cross-sectional diameter of 6 units. The length of the nasal and the nozzle accounts for about 6 units each. A cylindrical domain, which represents the low pressure tubes in which the pod travels, is chosen as a domain, where the inlet is at a distance of 2 times the pod length and the outlet is at 3 times the pod length. The topology strategy chosen for this case is bottom-up approach. To start with, we will be creating a 2D profile which will be rotated to form 3D blocks surrounding the pod. Next, the top layer will be extended to the cylindrical domain, and finally the outermost structure will be wrapped to form O-grid topology structure. Now we have a 2D wireframe with faces on the symmetry plane. These faces can further be revolved using copy plus rotate option to form blocks around the pod. In order to avoid creating a degenerate block while revolving the wireframe, we have created the faces slightly away from the center of the pod. In version 7, we have a new option called Circular with Core for axisymmetric geometries, which can build the blocking at the core region automatically. There are two inputs required. One is the faces to be rotated, so I am grouping all the faces to corner group C1 and selecting the same under input group. The center of geometry is at origin and the axis of rotation is x-axis. The next step is to decide the number of copies. Since the geometry is rotationally symmetric with no extra features, I am choosing a minimum number of copies, which is 8. The next input is to specify the edges where the blocks have to be created. I am grouping the edges closer to the center of the pod and selecting under the input group for core. Clicking on copy, the entire wireframe is revolved and the blocks at the pod center is created. The next step is to extend the topology to the top of the cylindrical domain. I am grouping the outermost layer of faces and copying it to the domain. The third step is to create an O-grid structure for the cylindrical domain. I am grouping all the outermost layer and wrapping it to form an O-grid structure. This brings us to the completion of the blocking process. Next, I am choosing to associate the faces to its respective surfaces. The generic option under the assignment panel, which is again a new feature in version 7, identifies the boundary faces, which has no assignments, and groups them. All the assignments for the domain and pod are completed. Now it's time to check the validity of the topology. The topology is valid to generate the grid. Before we start the grid generator, it's a good practice to balance the cell density on the block edges. It can be done in two ways, by increasing or decreasing the density, by splitting the existing blocks. In this case, I am choosing to do a combination of both approaches. The mesh preview gives us a cell view based on the edge densities. I am modifying each edge group to have a smooth transition of cells across the edges. This is a modification based on visual perception. The grid generator takes this as an initial condition and repositions them to provide a smooth grid. Let's start the grid generation process by clicking on the Start button. The grid generator is allowed to run for about 3000 sweeps. I am loading the grid into the UI using the Load button from the Grid tab. I am adding a cross-sectional grid sheet to analyze the grid quality visually. The visual inspection and the statistics of the grid looks good for a baseline version. More blocks and density can be added to the region of interest, which would help in capturing the flow physics more accurately. The final step is to add boundary layer clustering to the grid. The surface grid sheets of the pod are 1, 2 and 3. The first cell spacing I am using in this case is 1 e power minus 3 with a default growth ratio of 1.2. Clicking on Apply adds the boundary layer clustering and loads the grid into the UI. The boundary layer tool automatically calculates the required number of cells in the normal direction of the surface to ensure a smooth transition. This brings us to the end of the process. Before we sign off, I'll summarize the video. First, we started with a bottom-up approach by creating a 2D profile and revolved to 360 degree using copy plus rotate option. Then the blocks were extended to the cylindrical domain and an O-grid structure was created. The grid resolution was optimized using the density button along with splitting of blocks. Finally, the boundary layer was added to the pod surface. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or you want us to post any specific tutorials, please leave your comments below or write to us on Twitter. The social media links can be found in the description. Do subscribe to the channel to get updates on new videos.